our last session we have completed with volumetric efficiency for a reciprocating compressor. In today's session we will see multi-staging of a reciprocating compressor. Why it is required to do so, that is why it is required to do multi-staging, and along with that we will also see centrifugal compressor. This is Faizan Kagdi and I welcome you all to our lecture series of Basic Mechanical Engineering. So let's begin with our topic. So multi-staging, what does it indicate or what does it mean? So we would say multi-staging means making use of more than one cylinder and arranging them in series connection for achieving a higher pressure. Now the first question comes that why multi-staging is required to be done? Will it not be possible to just compress air by making use of a single cylinder? It is possible, right? But when high pressure is required, that is when high delivery pressure is required, at that moment of time single stage reciprocating compressor will fail. Why? The reason is that whenever a higher delivery pressure is achieved, the entire suction stroke can be wasted in expansion of a same compressed air, as a result of which air cannot, or we would say fresh air cannot enter into a cylinder at a time of suction stroke till pressure inside a cylinder comes nearer to atmospheric pressure. So even we know from our equation of volumetric efficiency that can also be predicted that eta is equal to eta v is equal to 1 minus c in a bracket p2 by p1 raised to 1 by n minus 1. Now from this equation it is very predictable that P1 is the initial pressure nearer to the atmospheric pressure, whereas P2 is a higher compressed air pressure, that is a delivery air pressure. For example, the delivery pressure required is 100 bar. So in that case the term which is on the right side of the equation of volumetric efficiency will be increased. Since P2 is going to increase, the entire term C into a bracket P2 by P1 raised to 1 by n minus 1 will increase, and if this is increased after subtracting from 1, the overall efficiency, that is volumetric efficiency, will be reduced. So it is very clear that higher is delivery pressure, lower will be the volumetric efficiency if we use a single stage reciprocating compressor. Also another problem is that whenever high pressure is required, along with that high temperature will be achieved, so compressor will have to withstand high temperature, which means indirectly we need to increase the thickness of a cylinder as well as the thickness of a cylinder head, which will lead to a heavy working elements, right? And if a working elements are heavier, then it will again lead to more cost, incur more and more cost. So what is the solution to all these problems? So we would say we can cool down the temperature of air every time after compression process, and this can be done if we compress air in multiple stages, or we would say in more than one stages. Okay, so on your screen you can see that I have shown two cylinders, and in between two cylinders there is an intercooler placed. For example, my required pressure is P3. Let's say that P3 is equal to 10 bar, which I required, and initial pressure P1 will be the pressure of atmospheric air which is going to enter into our first cylinder. Okay, so considering that pressure P1 at an inlet is 1 bar, air is entering into a cylinder, suction stroke is taken place, compression is taken place, there is a delivery stroke. Let's say that a first compressor has increased its pressure by 5 bar. Okay, so at an exit of cylinder 1, the pressure achieved is P2, that is 5 bar. But because of compression, its temperature is also increased, right? So we know that whatever problem comes is because of temperature increment. So we need to pass that highly pressurized air into an intercooler. Intercooler is going to reduce the temperature of air, keeping its pressure constant. So for example, P2 is a pressure entering into an intercooler, and an exit pressure will remain same. Okay, that is P2, but temperature will be reduced. Now that highly compressed air at a pressure of 5 bar will enter into a second cylinder, that is second stage cylinder. Again, let's say that that cylinder has a capacity to increase its pressure by 5 bar. So at an exit of a second cylinder, the pressure increased will be 5 plus 5, that is 10 bar, which is represented over here by P3. So that is our final delivery pressure which we can achieve. Now this process is represented on a PV diagram. So this PV diagram drawn is for a case without clearance volume. Okay, so it is shown from a zero volume. You can see the starting suction is taken place from a zero volume. So suction of air takes place till a piston reaches its VDC position, represented by point number 1. Now in cylinder 1 compression is taking place, which means piston is going to move in an upward direction. So when it moves in an upward direction, it has been considered that a process is according to adiabatic process. So represented by hyperbolic curve from state 1 to state 2. So this is our compression process. There is a second stroke achieved. Okay. Now what is happening? So from a cylinder 1, that highly pressurized air which is having a high temperature now enters into intercooler. But we know that what is happening in intercooler, its pressure is remaining constant but temperature is going to reduce. We know that because of high temperature, intermolecular distance increases, right? Because of that, density reduces. Okay, and when density reduces, volume is going to increase, since density is equal to mass upon volume, which means inversely proportional. Density is inversely proportional to volume. So similarly, if cooling is done, so what is going to happen? So if cooling is done, then density of air is going to increase, but its volume is going to reduce. So this is represented from point number 2 to point number 3 by a horizontal line, indicating that pressure is remaining constant but volume is going to reduce. Okay, now from point number 3, it is entering into second cylinder, right? In a second cylinder, again its pressure is going to increase, right? Along with that, temperature is also going to increase. Okay, so this is represented, that is a compression stroke, is represented from point number 3 to point number 4. Okay, state 3 to state 4, indicating a compression taken place in a second cylinder. And finally, from state 4 to a zero volume, indicating that whatever air has been entered into a second cylinder is now delivered into a air receiver. Now what is the benefit of doing a multi-staging? So the first benefit is that volumetric efficiency, which could be reduced if we have achieved a same pressure in a single cylinder. Why? Because that 10 bar pressure air will always be present in a clearance volume, which can lead to expansion of that air even during our suction stroke, right? So this is totally avoided in our multi-stage reciprocating compressor. So further, let's see advantages of multi-staging reciprocating compressor. Okay, so first point in advantage of a multi-staging is that there is a saving in work input due to intercooling. So it is very obvious. You can see from a graph, that is PV diagram, that if intercooling is not done, is haven't achieved, so we can say that a point from state 2 to state 3 will not be there, right? So at that time, directly the point 1 will go to a point number 4, right? That is adiabatic compression, or we would say a 10 bar pressure achieved directly in a single cylinder. So because of that, the graph size would be increased, and if graph size is increased, which means indicating work input is also increased. So what is happened due to intercooling? So our graph has changed its path. See clearly, that is the graph from point 2 is going in a horizontal way, that is from 2 to 3, it represents volume has been reduced. So the size of our graph is going to reduce, and if size is reducing, which means work input is drastically reduced. Okay, so first point is very clear, that saving in work input due to intercooling. Second point, volumetric efficiency is increased. So it is again very obvious that if we compress the same air in a single cylinder, then expansion of a same compressed air can take place during a suction stroke, which can reduce our volumetric efficiency. Whereas in our multi-staging, we are compressing the air in stages to achieve a same pressure of 10 bar. That is, in a first cylinder 5 bar is achieved, in a second cylinder 5 bar is achieved. So volumetric efficiency is comparatively increased. Okay. Third point says that less shaft power is required for a given pressure ratio. Shaft power means mechanical power required, or a power consumption is drastically reduced. Again, this point resembles to point number 1, that is because of intercooling. Next point, fourth one, better lubricating effect is provided. So this is again very obvious that since the size of compressor, or we would say cylinder, is going to reduce as we are achieving high pressure in stages, so the performance of lubricating oil will also be quite effective. Okay, next point, fifth one, better mechanical balance and smoother torque angle diagram is obtained. 6 point, low pressure cylinder is lighter in weight, so it is very obvious that thickness of a cylinder and piston will be reduced, and so overall weight of a cylinder is also going to reduce. Next, 7th one, there is no leakage problem due to less pressure difference for each stage. Obviously that if we are compressing the air in stages, so in one cylinder one cylinder has to maintain very less pressure, that is 5 bar pressure, right? So in that case, higher is the pressure, higher is the problem of leakage. And similarly, if lower is the pressure, lower is the problem of leakage. So I hope guys that you are clear that why we need to do multi-staging in a reciprocating compressor and advantages of multi-staging. Now let's see our next topic, that is centrifugal compressor. So as the name itself suggests that centrifugal compressor will be working because of on centrifugal force, that is a force away from center. The working of this centrifugal compressor resembles completely to our centrifugal pump, and it works on principle of Bernoulli's equation and continuity equation, that is law of conservation of energy and law of conservation of mass. So now let's understand its construction and working. So at the center of a centrifugal pump there is an impeller provided, that is a rotating element which is directly mounted on a compressor shaft. Okay, again we should know that it is a power absorbing device, so electric motor is going to run this compressor shaft, that is mechanical power will be provided and an impeller will start to rotate. Okay, on a impeller there is a blades attached, that is called impeller blades, in such a way that its area is increasing away from a center. Okay, and outside the impeller blade there is a stationary diffuser, again a diffuser ring, that is called a diffuser ring. So a diffuser ring is also provided blades whose area is again increasing away from a center. But this ring is stationary. It is fixed at a particular position. It is not going to rotate. Only a one element is going to rotate, that is our impeller. Okay. Now exactly at the center of an impeller there is an opening provided, that is called a suction side, and from that opening atmospheric air can directly enter at the center of an impeller. Okay. Now all these parts are enclosed in a housing, that is called a casing, to which a delivery pipe is connected, which is you can see shown by a discharge side. Okay, so now how it's gonna work, let's see. So first of all we need to start our motor. Now when motor is started, impeller is going to rotate at a high speed, nearly at a speed of 30,000 rpm, revolution per minute. Now when an impeller rotates at such a high speed, at the center of an impeller high vacuum will be created. Okay, high vacuum means absolute zero pressure. So we know that airflow will take place from a high pressure to a low pressure. So atmospheric air is directly going to enter at the center of an impeller. Now as soon as it enters at the center of an impeller, impeller is going to exert a centrifugal force on air. That is, it is going to increase kinetic energy of air. Air is going to move at a high velocity outside, that is away from a center, and will enter directly into a diffuser ring. Okay, now in a diffuser it is going to strike a diffuser. As soon as it strikes a diffuser, its kinetic energy is going to drop and its pressure energy is going to increase. Now this is based on a Bernoulli's principle, that is whenever there is a drop in a kinetic energy, there will be an increment in a pressure energy. Okay, now diffuser is going to increase the pressure, as well as there is a certain portion of kinetic energy which is present in air. Now finally that air enters into a casing having a high pressure, and in a casing further its kinetic energy is going to reduce and pressure energy is going to increase. Why? Because casing would be arranged eccentrically with impeller. Okay, now if eccentric arrangement is provided, then there will be a gradual increment in an area. Now when area increases, its velocity is going to reduce according to continuity principle, that is Q is equal to A into V, where A is the area and V is the velocity of air. Now if velocity reduces, then it's an obvious case that pressure is going to increase. Okay, so this works on both the principles, that is Bernoulli's equation as well as continuity equation. And finally we can get a highly pressurized air through the discharge side. Now this is also represented on a diagram. As you can see, I have shown a graph that is first representing a pressure. What is the effect on a pressure in an impeller, and then what is an effect on a pressure in diffuser. In a downside, I have shown a graph for velocity, that is what will be the effect of impeller on a velocity of air and that of diffuser on a velocity of air. So let's see first pressure. Now as we know that impeller main task is to increase the velocity, right? So on a downward side you can see there is an increment in a velocity shown, whereas at the same time in an upward side is shown an increment in a pressure, but comparatively the increment in a velocity will be much higher because it is exerting a centrifugal force. Okay, now coming to a next part, that is a diffuser part. What is happening in a diffuser? In a diffuser, its pressure is going to increase whereas the velocity is going to reduce. So on a downward side you can see that in a diffuser part velocity is shown by a downward position, right? That is a curve indicating a reduction in velocity, whereas pressure is further increased in a diffuser, indicating highly pressurized air is achieved at an exit of a diffuser ring, which finally enters into a casing, and further the pressure is increased in a casing, right? So highly compressed air can be achieved by this centrifugal compressor. Okay, so now how much pressure we can achieve in this arrangement? So we can say that this type of compressor is a continuous flow machine, that is we can continuously obtain a highly compressed air, whereas in a reciprocating compressor we know that we need to provide air receiver to collect the highly pressurized air. Okay, because delivery is intermittent, it's not continuous, whereas in this case we can obtain a continuous flow. Also, centrifugal compressor is suitable for large flow rate at a moderate pressure, which means the pressure obtained in centrifugal compressor is quite less compared to reciprocating compressor, whereas pressure ratio obtained is from 4 to 6 in this centrifugal compressor. We are going to list out the difference between centrifugal and reciprocating compressor in our next session. Okay, so today we are keeping up till here, and I hope guys that you are clear with this topic of centrifugal compressor and multi-staging of reciprocating compressor. Till then, stay tuned and thank you all.